Your fasting insulin is high. Your HOMA-IR is above 2. Your triglycerides are elevated. And now you are sitting there looking at these numbers wondering what exactly you are supposed to do with them. Here is the truth nobody tells you at this point. Most doctors will look at these numbers and tell you to eat less and exercise more. Maybe prescribe metformin if the glucose is high enough. And send you home. That is not a protocol. That is a dismissal. In the next 10 minutes I am going to give you the exact step-by-step protocol that brings fasting insulin from dangerous back to optimal. Not in theory. Not eventually. With specific actions, specific timelines, and specific numbers to track so you know it is actually working. If you followed the last video and got your fasting insulin tested, this video is for you. If you have not tested yet, go back and watch video 5 first. The link is in the description. This protocol has 3 phases. Each phase builds on the previous one. Skip a phase and the results will be slower. Follow them in order and most people see measurable improvement in their fasting insulin within 21 days. Let me explain why this works before I give you the steps, because understanding the mechanism is what makes you actually follow through. Insulin resistance developed over years, possibly decades. Your cells became progressively less responsive to insulin because they were constantly bombarded with it. Every time you ate sugar, every snack between meals, every glass of juice, your pancreas fired insulin over and over, until your cells essentially built a wall. You cannot tear down that wall with one change. You need to systematically reduce the insulin signal, restore cell sensitivity, and support the metabolic systems that got damaged in the process. That is exactly what this 3-phase protocol does. Phase 1. The first 7 days. Remove the insulin triggers. This is the most important phase and the one most people do wrong. They try to add good things before removing the bad things. It does not work that way. You cannot build on a burning foundation. There are 4 things you must eliminate in the first 7 days. Not reduce. Eliminate. Number 1. All liquid calories with sugar, soda, juice, sweet coffee drinks, energy drinks, sports drinks. Every one of these produces an immediate insulin spike that is disproportionate to solid food because liquid sugar hits the bloodstream faster than your body can process it. Number 2. All snacking between meals. This is perhaps the single most important change you will make. Every time you eat, even something small, your pancreas fires insulin. The goal is to give your insulin long periods of silence so your cells can begin to recover their sensitivity. 3 meals. No snacks. Nothing between meals except black coffee or plain water. Number 3. All refined grains and white carbohydrates. White bread, white rice, pasta, crackers, breakfast cereal. These spike insulin almost as fast as pure sugar. They are not neutral. They are not fine in moderation. For these 21 days, they are out completely. Number 4. All seed oils. Canola, sunflower, soybean, corn oil. We covered this in video 2 when we talked about the liver. Seed oils drive the same inflammation pathway that worsens insulin resistance. Remove them. Replace with butter, olive oil, or coconut oil. By day 3 of phase 1, your fasting insulin begins to drop. Not dramatically, but measurably. The constant insulin stimulus is removed and your cells begin to get their first real rest. By day 7, most people notice 2 things. Their hunger between meals is reduced, and their energy after meals is more stable. Both are direct signs that insulin sensitivity is beginning to return. Did you know that over 80% of people watching this channel are not subscribed? This is video 6 in the series. We have covered your liver, the foods destroying it, how to rebuild it, insulin resistance, the blood test your doctor never ordered, and now the protocol to fix your numbers. If this content has been useful, hit subscribe right now. The next video covers cortisol, the second hormone that works alongside insulin to determine whether your body stores fat or burns it. And most people with high insulin also have a cortisol problem they do not know about. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Phase 2, days 8 through 14. Rebuild insulin sensitivity with targeted nutrition. By now the insulin triggers are gone. Your baseline insulin is dropping. Now we accelerate the recovery by giving your cells the specific nutrients they need to restore receptor sensitivity. There are 3 nutrients that are clinically proven to improve insulin sensitivity, and most people with insulin resistance are deficient in all 3. Nutrient number 1. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. One of the most critical is glucose metabolism. Without adequate magnesium, insulin receptors on cell walls cannot function properly. The lock exists but the key cannot turn it. Studies published in Diabetes Care show that people in the lowest quartile of magnesium intake have a 71% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those with adequate magnesium. The form matters enormously. Magnesium oxide, the most common form sold in pharmacies, has a 3% absorption rate. It is almost completely useless. Magnesium glycinate has an 80% absorption rate and is the form clinically shown to improve insulin sensitivity. Dose: 300 to 400 milligrams taken in the evening. Food sources: dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate above 85%, avocado, and salmon. Nutrient number 2. Berberine is a plant compound extracted from several herbs including barberry and golden seal. It activates an enzyme called AMPK, the same enzyme activated by metformin, the most commonly prescribed diabetes drug, but without the side effects. A meta-analysis of 14 clinical trials published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that berberine reduced fasting blood glucose by an average of 19.7% and fasting insulin by 25% over 12 weeks. A dose: 500 milligrams 3 times daily with meals. Important: berberine can interact with medications. If you are on any prescription drugs, especially blood pressure or blood sugar medications, consult your doctor before adding berberine. Nutrient number 3. Apple cider vinegar. This one surprises people because it sounds too simple. But the mechanism is well established. Acetic acid, the active compound in apple cider vinegar, improves insulin sensitivity by activating AMPK, the same enzyme as berberine, through a different pathway. It also slows gastric emptying, which reduces the rate at which glucose enters the bloodstream after a meal. A study published in Diabetes Care found that 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before meals reduced post-meal blood sugar by 19 to 34% in insulin-resistant subjects. A dose: 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in a large glass of water. Consumed 15 minutes before each meal. Do not drink it undiluted. The acidity damages tooth enamel and the esophagus over time. Phase 3. Days 15 through 21. The metabolic reset with structured movement. By now your insulin triggers are gone and you are supplementing the 3 key nutrients. The final piece is movement, but not the movement most people think of. The most powerful form of movement for insulin sensitivity is not cardio. It is not running. It is not 45 minutes on the elliptical. It is resistance training combined with post-meal walking. Here is why resistance training is uniquely powerful for insulin sensitivity. Muscle tissue is the primary site of glucose disposal in the body. When your muscles contract during resistance training, they activate glucose transporters called GLUT4 that pull glucose directly out of the bloodstream independent of insulin. This is a completely different pathway from the insulin-dependent pathway that is broken in insulin-resistant people. Put simply, resistance training creates a bypass around the broken insulin system. Your muscles take up glucose without needing insulin to do it. Studies show that 8 weeks of resistance training reduces fasting insulin by an average of 25% in insulin-resistant adults, independent of weight loss. You do not need a gym. You do not need equipment. The minimum effective dose is 3 sessions per week, 20 to 30 minutes, focusing on large muscle groups. Squats, deadlifts, push-ups, rows. Combine this with the post-meal walking we covered in video 4. 10 to 15 minutes after each meal. This combination, resistance training 3 times per week plus post-meal walks, is the most powerful non-pharmaceutical intervention for insulin resistance that exists. Now let me give you the numbers to track so you know this is working. At day 7, your hunger between meals should be noticeably reduced. If you are still hungry every 2 hours, you have not fully eliminated the snacking habit. At day 14, your energy after meals should be stable. No post-meal crashes. If crashes are still happening, check for hidden sugar sources in your diet. At day 21, this is when you retest. Fasting insulin should be measurably lower. Even a 20 to 30% reduction in 21 days is a significant and clinically meaningful result. If you started above 15, you are aiming to get below 10 in the first cycle. If you started between 10 and 15, you are aiming to get below 8. If you started between 6 and 10, you are aiming to get to the 2 to 6 optimal range. 121-day cycle will not get everyone to optimal, but it will move everyone in the right direction. And direction, as we said in video 3, is everything. Here is what I want you to take from this video: your numbers are not a life sentence. They are a starting point. Every single intervention in this protocol works through the same fundamental mechanism, reducing the chronic insulin signal and restoring the sensitivity of your cells. When you do that consistently, your body does the rest. It was built to regulate insulin. You just need to stop interfering with that process. The next video covers cortisol, the second hormone that directly determines whether your body burns fat or stores it. High cortisol and high insulin together create a metabolic environment where fat loss becomes almost impossible regardless of diet and exercise. If you have been doing everything right and still not seeing results, cortisol is almost certainly part of the story. Comment below. What is your fasting insulin number? You do not have to share if you prefer, but if you are willing, write it in the comments. I want to understand where most people watching this series are starting from, and if you know someone who has been told to just eat less and exercise more without any specific protocol, send them this video. The general advice is not enough. The specific protocol is what actually works. This is general educational content only. Always consult your physician before making any changes to your health regimen or supplement routine. See you in the next one.